All right, a better second quarter, but not great. I mean, listen, I know there's two halves and you have 24 minutes left, and I fully expect Sacramento to win this game, but that was not a good half. You're taking on a team with 11 wins, and they lead. The Wizards do 56-54, Rhino.
Yeah, Grant, you just saw a first half where your stars had a tough go of it. De'Aaron Fox struggled from the floor. Domantas Sabonis at 1.3 fouls, 2 points, one
Yep,
rebound in the
yep.
second quarter. So the Kings are hitting shots now. Confidence is up. Kessler Edwards, great minutes, plus 15.
Yeah, very lackluster first half. Jerry Reynolds, not a lot to really like if you're a Kings fan in that first half.
Well, no, the first 18 minutes might have been the worst basketball we've seen all year. I mean,
Yeah,
the defense was as bad as the offense was, and really, Monk was the only guy that really showed up there in the first 18 minutes, and then Fox really got it going, Domas got it going, and but more importantly, they finally started guarding. I mean, put some pressure on the ball. I mean, gosh, they were just moving the ball around like it was a noontime game.
Yeah, Jerry, I would say, or the reference I would make is in the games where the Kings have played defensive well, they've made the role players beat them instead of giving role players open shots. Tonight, Washington's been getting open shots.
Oh yeah, I mean until the last few minutes. I mean, then you saw they had to work for their offense to get shots of any kind. Uh, to their credit, they did try to make it tough on the Kings, although the Kings really just made it tough on themselves, missing shots. No, so very fortunate to be where they are with the kind of play that they had. So only could you come back on a. I mean, if Washington was any good, you couldn't come back on them that
no,
quick.
no, and Jerry, we've talked about this because we've seen it so often, and from coaching, when you let a bad team hang around and hang around, they'll bite you. So this third quarter coming up, the Kings need to make some noise because when a team only has 11 wins and they're not used to winning, and they get an opportunity to win, that's not a recipe you want if you're Sacramento. You don't want this game close with 5 minutes to go.
No, and letting a team hang around like this, especially at home, they'll it everybody can kind of bow their backs and suck it up at home a little more. So Kings really need to come out and establish who's going to win the game.
I like that, Jerry. And what did you see in that last run that the Kings had that you think they need to further establish into the third and fourth quarters?
Yeah, ball pressure. I mean, really ball pressure. To make it tough for them to move the ball by pass, by dribble. I mean, you can. The Kings really can. They're quicker, more athletic. I think Kessler Edwards did a nice job. Uh, Put his imprint in there, but just make it tough on them moving the ball. This is not a team that has really an inside game. So if you take their perimeter game away, I think they're going to be should be a win for the Kings.
Kings shot poorly from three, assist to turnover ratio, not good. Those are the barometers we look at with this team, and both lacking in that first half, Ryan.
Yeah, absolutely. And Grant, the 3-point shot, that's the big things for the Kings. They are 1-4 this season when they make 9 or less threes. So that number's got to get up in the second half.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fox got it going there late, after just a terrible start. But as you said, this is a team, they'll get open threes, and they've just got to start making a reasonable percentage, and they'll be in good shape. But they simply have to. That's part of what they do.
What do you think the final score is going to be, Ryan? Give me a final in this one.
I think Sac's going to score a little bit more here in the second half. I'm going to say Kings 119, Wizards 102.
I got 114 Kings, 106 Wizards.
Yeah, I got the Kings winning this game 118-107. I do think their offense will pick up considerably in the second half. And I just, I'm looking at the roster of the Wizards. I'm looking how that second quarter went after the Kings were sleepwalking through the first 15 minutes or so. Unless the Kings beat themselves, I don't see them losing this game.
Well, Grant, let me give you a couple statistics just to kind of open your eyes further to that. At one point, the Kings were out rebounded 16-6 in the second quarter. And at another point, it was 24-12 in the paint for Washington. It's now 26-20 in the paint. So the Kings closed that gap, and also rebounding. The Kings are only out rebounded by 6 right now.
And that's one thing, when you make teams take tough shots, work hard, actually you get more rebounds because they don't make so many shots.
Yep.
I mean, that wasn't for a while there. All the shots they got were so easy, there was no rebounds available. Kings just taking the ball out of bounds about every possession.
That's a really good point.
It is.
We always talk about the third quarter when you're playing bad teams, and let's not sugarcoat this. Washington's a really bad team. That's why they have 11 wins. That's why they have the worst record in the league. Kings have now woken up. I think we saw that in the last 6 minutes of the first half. Now it's really time to come out and dictate everything in this third quarter, guys. I mean, really.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the third quarter is obviously very important, but especially tonight. I mean, you got the nice run going into the half, really establish something. You want to keep it going. Just take their hearts right now. I mean, that's really what it is. This is a team that's used to getting beat, so give them the reason to get beat.
There you go. And Keegan Murray got off to a really good start, 4-4 from the field, 4-6 now. What are you seeing from him tonight offensively that looks a little different?
Well, he's definitely being aggressive. He's looking for his shot and trying to, get into the paint and a little step away. So you like that. I kind of wish, really, I think when he's in his slumps, his ball flattens out. He doesn't get the arch on it that he does when he's really shooting well. I don't know if just tired legs are really not getting the push into it, but I've noticed that, for his three, he's really shooting a lot of flatter balls.
Interesting. Ryan, you talked about the mechanics of his shot. I want to update people on a couple of scores. The Magic are beating the Pelicans currently in the third, 61-48. I'm just telling you, Orlando's a really good team, and that's who the Kings have coming up on Saturday. And then the Jazz are in Dallas, so the Mavs have a home game against the Jazz coming up a little later. But we'll keep you up to date on that Magic Pelican score. It's now 61-50. But, so much for Ryan resting guys through this 3 games and 4 night stretch, a difficult stretch. And then you have to fly cross country and do it all over again with a back-to-back with Philadelphia and Dallas. But, in order now to win this game, in all likelihood, you're going to have to play your guys regular minutes.
Yeah, 100%, Grant. And short of international travel, this is a pretty well set up back-to-back for the Kings because their starters didn't play a lot of minutes. And honestly, now that Kessler is working in pretty well, if he comes in, gets those minutes again, that's going to give more pressure on the ball that Jerry was talking about.
Yeah, I mean, there's really no excuses. I mean, so you just got to go play the game and win the game. And then you can worry about Orlando because, as Grant said, they're plenty good. You can play a good game and lose to Orlando.
Yeah,
because they're good. They're a good team. But this is a team that isn't a good team, and there's no excuses.
No.
You've just got to go win it.
Well, your next 4 games after tonight, Orlando, Philadelphia, Dallas, and Dallas. So, I mean, this is no time to be messing around because I'll just tell you, if you lose this game tonight, I'm just telling you, I'm predicting this, you're not going to be a top 6 seed. You cannot be losing games to teams like Detroit and Washington and get to where you want to be. This is, I'm just going to call it the way it is. This is a must-win game for the Sacramento Kings if they're going to be a top 6 seed.
So what's it do on the other side? Because we said this being the third game that we talked about, if the Kings won all 3, they would probably be looking at that 6.
No, I didn't say that, and I don't agree with that. You have to understand that right now the Kings have not picked up any ground during this easy stretch on really Phoenix and Dallas. They're 2 percentage points ahead of the Mavs and Phoenix. So after tomorrow's play, because Phoenix plays tomorrow, the Dallas Mavericks play tonight. If after tomorrow, before the Kings take the court against Orlando on Saturday, if the standings are where they are now, in my opinion, through this stretch with some of the losses that the Kings have had on their home floor, this to me is a real missed opportunity because the schedule from this point forward
Right.
after tonight is very difficult. And so if you have not bridged some space in the standings, then I think you've lost a golden opportunity. And some of the home losses that I'm talking about are the Chicagos, the Houstons, the teams of that magnitude that you lost to. The Knicks are a good team, but you lost to them at home without Randall on the floor. You know, you've missed some opportunities here.
Yeah, 100%, Grant. I think the point I was trying to make is they handled their business, and the only part of the schedule that I think Grant and I see that they could maybe gain that ground that you talked about or put some fat in the reserve is this. And what do you think, Jerry? Do you think the schedule lines up okay?
Well, they've got a much better home schedule than any of the people they're competing with. They got more home games. Now,
but they don't play well at home.
No, well, that's another issue, but you're supposed to. 99.9% of the teams in the history of the
you are
game,
supposed to. Yes, you are.
It's an advantage. And so the fact that it hasn't been thus far, but it's time for it to be because that's the advantage they have is more home games. And, with Dallas and Phoenix, they simply have to play more on the road.
Yeah, the Kings. Go ahead, Ryan.
Have you gentlemen looked at the Kings net rating lately?
I haven't.
I haven't either. I don't look at. You know what I look at? I look at three categories when I evaluate a team, and I know the net rating is much better over the last 10 games. I've seen the numbers, but net ratings to me, you can analyze numbers and say we put an asterisk next to every single one of them based on when did you play that team and who was playing on the floor for the other team. Did you play a team without their best player? For instance, you beat the Clippers. That was a big win, but they didn't have Paul George. Okay, that's a big loss. Okay, yep. You had to go to overtime to beat a bad Spurs team. Okay, what does that mean? You lost to the Houston Rockets at home, right? You lost to the Knicks at home, who are a good team, but they didn't have one of their very best players. Two key players were out, and Anunoby was playing hurt, okay? I don't just ignore those things. You can throw all the numbers you want at me. You know what my eyes tell me? And they've told me this since October, despite what your ratings are going to tell me over the last 10 games. The Kings are a very inconsistent team, very inconsistent. And here we are in the middle of March to the latter part of March now, and nothing's changed to me on that. They're still an inconsistent team.
I mean, yeah, if you're talking about the 10-game sample size, but Grant, both of you guys said the one stat that does not lie is net rating, and the Kings have hovered between 0.3 and 0.6 all season. On the season, they're 1.5 right now, Grant.
They're 1.5, and take away last night's game, and what's their net rating?
1.5 on the season.
Yeah, you can't. But you can't be selective like
if
that.
If you take away last night's game, go ahead, Jerry.
You can't do that because every team has those games. In other words, every team plays bad teams and they blow them out, and that and the other. No, I agree with one net rating, a win margin, and the standings are really the only thing that counts. And the third thing for me is always home road advantage. So that's where it is.
The Kings are a good
play
team.
Out like that.
The Kings are a good team. I think we all three acknowledge they're a good team. Yeah. Their issue is they play in a really good conference, okay? And the Kings could still be a good team and not be a top 6. The teams this year in the West that are 7 and 8 are either going to be Sacramento, Dallas, or Phoenix in all likelihood. 2 of those teams are going to be 7 and 8. And both of those teams, to me, are good teams. And both of those teams, and I'll include Sacramento in that mix, could all win first-round playoff series as a 7 seed. And I wouldn't bat an eyelash because I don't think there's a large separation in the West this year between what will be the 2nd seed and the 7th seed.
No, I agree with that. I mean, here's the thing. Last year, the Lakers were the 8th seed, and they go to the conference finals. I mean, that could happen again. In other words, I think the Kings can finish sixth, but I'll be honest, I'm a Kings fan, but I don't believe they have as much talent as Phoenix or Dallas right now, since Dallas picked up a couple of guys, at the break. Both teams improved themselves. Now, you got Hall of Famers on both of those teams, potential Hall of Famers. So, but I think, but it's to your point, they have got to be more consistent. They've got to start winning home games.
Yeah, they do.
They've got, they got to win games like this, but they got to win the home games.
Good stuff. Good stuff, guys. The second half is beginning. Jerry, we appreciate it very much. Thank you.
My gollies, I gave you what I had. That's all I could give you.
Thank you, Jerry.
See you guys.
See you, Jerry. Rhino, good stuff. We look forward to continuing this conversation in an hour. We also invite folks to give us calls on the postgame show. The Kings and the Wizards, third quarter underway.